Hey, welcome to another edition of Hoop Academy Project. I'm Derek Limas, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in this evening. Sitting in here with me today are three distinguished guests. To my right is Melvin Miller, who's a longtime resident of the city of Alexandria. And next to Melvin is Mr. Albert Burts, who is a 1947 graduate of Parker Gray High School. And to his right is none other than Mr. Horace Burton, who is also a 1947 graduate of Parker Gray High School. You know, I'd like to thank y'all for, taking the time of your busy schedules and coming in and sitting here and talking with me. All right, we're actually here to talk about the dedication of the Earl Lloyd dedication, which is where they're going to name the floor of T.C. Williams High School, and they're going to dedicate it to Earl Lloyd, who was the first African-American to play in the NBA, and also former resident of Alexandria, who went to Parker Gray High School and then went on to play in the NBA. And so, we're here to talk about that dedication. So, I'm going to just ask this question to you all, but mainly directed towards you, Melvin. Who and why, or who initiated this event and why?
Well, let me just say how it started. One day, I think I was at a basketball game, and I ran into Mike Porterfield, and we started talking about the new gym and the new school and things there. And he said, wouldn't it be great if we could get the court named after Earl Lloyd? And I said, fine, let's see what we can do. And I talked to a few school board members, and then we put together a letter to the chairperson of the school board. Then Mike and I went before the facilities committee and proposed that they name the court after Earl. The facilities committee agreed unanimously, and they took it to the school board, and they agreed. So that's how we got to naming the court after Earl.
So it was it a hard task? I mean, did you have to convince many people? Or was
I
it
didn't
graciously accepted?
I think it was graciously accepted. Most of the folks didn't, I don't think, realize who Earl was, but once we told them who he was and what his tie to Alexandria was, that I think it was a pretty easy decision for the board to make.
All right, so we have Earl Lloyd. We know the accomplishments that he had. Let's talk about the fact that you two actually went to school with Earl and played on the same basketball team. So Albert, tell us a little bit about about that. I mean, how was it, and what's your thoughts about that?
Well, at that time, we were like a family anyway. All the ball players that played ball at Parker Gray during that period of time. We played ball in school. We played together after school, Sundays, nights, and we knew each other pretty well. And we were, like I said, it was like a family. We were in and out of each other's home, and I think that's why we had such a good basketball team, a good athletic program at that time. And I feel that anything that they presented to Earl, he deserved graciously, because, and I also think that this city has accepted him graciously. Because
now, Horace, I mean, you played football and basketball and with Earl, and talk about your thoughts.
Well, Earl was truly an outstanding basketball player, but he was one heck of a baseball player. And the thing about it is that Earl carried himself gentlemanly-like, because as Albert was saying, we were just like brothers. And we interchanged each other from the recreation center. We played ball on the old Parker Gray side of the building there, during the summer, recreation and everything. And we was all on the same team all the time, so we knew each other's moves and how to do it. So that's what made us as good as we was. And I thought that we was even better and everything as the years went along, because we came in on the 7th grade, and I was playing varsity ball at the 7th grade level, because Parker Gray only went to the 11th grade at the time. And when I came in Lyles Crouch. That's where I ran into Earl, because Earl went to Parker Gray under the auspices of Miss Helen Day. And then we hooked up in the 7th and 8th grade, and then we became the varsity, and the rest is history.
So speaking of history, why were y'all named the Dream Team?
Because we were the best team in the area at the time, and there was the Afro-American newspaper, and I think it was the Tribune.
Yeah, the Tribune.
The two black newspapers.
And the Norfolk Journal Guide. And then Sam Lacey of the Afro-American and everything. We had it all. We had speed. We also had height. We had the whole thing, the whole picture. We had the whole thing. So we didn't back off nobody, because at the time we had 360 students in the high school, and other schools had 1,500, 2,500, but they could only put 5 on the floor. So yeah, we had a chip on our shoulder, because they used to call us country, blue plague, and all that.
Right, blue plague. I read that. What's this blue plague thing about?
The blue plague was the type of uniforms we used to wear. You know, and they were country, ain't no doubt about it. They were country, but anyway, that it didn't make any difference. We were gonna beat you if you come in there, because you call us names. So we had a chip on our shoulder, and we come in and we played good ball and played with one another. It wasn't a selfish type of thing, you know, who could score this and who could score that. No, it wasn't that. We distributed that ball wherever it went. And Sherman McGuire was one of the best in the business. He was on that team, and he was bad.
One of the best ball handlers
He ever come out of Park Gray.
And plus...
But you Albert, you also, I remember I talked to you a while back one time, and you talked about Coach Johnson also.
Yeah.
You talked about, you know, how he brought y'all together also. So as far as, you know, having the athletes and you know, the ball players and the chip on your shoulder, you had Coach Johnson, you know, which is somebody that Earl talks about also, very affectionately.
Oh, yeah, well, he didn't take, he was what you call a no-nonsense type coach. I think Horace will agree with me on that. He didn't believe in the ball players like they do now run the teams. The coaches ran the team. He was the boss, he was the coach. You either abide by the rules he set forth, or else you're not going to be there. And he was strictly disciplined according to that. And he knew what he was doing. I mean, and I think the men liked him for it, and all the ball players loved him. And but the biggest thing that we came about for as a dream team was that in Washington, they considered them the best ball players in this metropolitan area. And they formed a team, and at that time they were doing the all-high, all the best ball players out of the high schools in Washington. And they approached Coach Johnson and asked him, since y'all are so good, how would you like to have a game with the all-high out of D.C.? And Coach said, yeah, we'll play, as Horace said, anybody. It doesn't make any difference. And so they set up this game, the Afro-Americans set up this game with the all-high, Parker Gray and all-high. That's when we became known as the Dream Team, because they figured it was a dream that this team think they could beat the best out of the District of Columbia. And we did.
So it wasn't a dream, it was reality.
That's right.
I hear you.
That's how the Dream Team, the name of the Dream Team got.
So Melvin, you know, you know about the Parker Gray tradition. I mean, you heard about it, you might have read about it, you might have talked to some people. I mean, you know about the Earl Lloyd legacy, you know, the Dream Team, Coach Johnson. I mean, for you and the actual initial thought that might have went into this dedication, you know, how does it make you feel to see this actually coming to fruition, actually happening, actually about to happen?
Well, I think it's great, because there are a lot of reasons I think it's good. One is to honor Earl, also to honor Parker Gray. Just one point I'd like to make. When I first talked to Earl about us doing this at the CIAA basketball tournament in Charlotte, he actually tried to encourage me to try to get him to name it after Coach Johnson. But I told him, the accomplishments that he had would make it an easy task. Coach Johnson, and I knew Coach Johnson. Actually, when I first came to Alexandria, I substituted at Parker Gray. And I knew Coach Johnson very well. And he was a tremendous man, but I just think for Earl and for Parker Gray, the other aspect of it is, if you're aware, the T.C. Williams team is going to play in Parker Gray uniforms that night, December 1st. And I've talked to the coach, and they've agreed that they will play their first game each year in those Parker Gray uniforms. So people will always remember what Parker Gray was and what Earl Lloyd was. Earl Lloyd's name will be on the floor. The team will play in Parker Gray uniforms, and each year folks will have to think about Earl Lloyd and Parker Gray. And I think that's great. That's part of the history of Alexandria.
I'm going to tell you what I think is great, that a man is going to be honored for his legacy, but he actually wanted to defer to another man who he felt had a great contribution on his life, and it seems like, as in Coach Johnson had a great contribution on y'all's life, and a whole lot of other people that I talked to's life also. I mean, that's what's interesting about that. But look, we know that very few structures remain in Alexandria, about the African American legacy. I mean, we know Parker Gray is no longer